Hey, what's going on, team? I want to welcome you to the first solutions video that I have that's really going to help you to get out of the quarter life crisis that you're in. So I want to talk to you about like the dark side of social media, as well as like how to get out of the career rut that you might be in. This video is going to be much more solutions orientated. I'm not really going to go into too much detail on what the problem is because I did that in the previous video. And I want to give you some like actionable steps and some real ways to think about this so that you can actually live the best life possible. So in the last video, we talked about what a quarter life crisis is in detail and like some of the ways that it can actually be triggered. But I just want to cover briefly on that again, just so that we can be brought up to speed, and then we'll get cracking into the video. So what is a quarter life crisis? A quarter life crisis is the anxiety and the stress that goes with the direction and the quality of one's life, okay? It's a need to have your life together at a very young age, and there's like a stress that comes from like needing to know where your life is heading and the probability that you're going to be successful somewhere in like your early 30s, okay? So around this time, you're probably thinking a lot about like money. You're probably thinking about a lot like your living situation, relationships, whether it be family or romantic wise, or like friends, those sort of things. Like how does all this sort of fit together? And the big one, your role, okay? What is your role in this world? Do you have a job or some sort of entrepreneurial endeavor that has serious meaning and like a reason for you to get out of bed in the morning? Also, when there's like a gap that is exposed from where you're at versus where you think you should be, or where you think you should have been by at this age, there's a lot of stress and anxiety that comes up and you don't really know how to deal with it. So with that being said, let's get cracking in the video. So the first thing that you might be experiencing is this feeling of being behind because of what you're seeing on social media and also like how you're comparing yourself to them. So one of the things that really helped me around this time is recognizing that you're only really seeing people's highlights, okay? You're only really seeing people's highlight reels. Nobody is showing their struggles. Nobody is showing how long and how hard they had to struggle and grind it out to actually get to that level of success. You only really follow people when they have a level of success or a certain amount of followers and have been consistently doing something that you admire, okay? Because then like they don't really have any value to you on your feed. So having this sort of in the back of your head, recognizing that you're not seeing the whole picture, you're only seeing a very small percentage of somebody's life, goes a long way for you to actually recognize that life is not a Disney film and things take time for you to actually be successful. So that hopefully helped you. The next thing is recognize that a lot of these influencers aren't freaking real, okay? They're fucking posers and they're actually in hardcore debt and working in a local coffee shop to try and just make ends meet and living out of a suitcase. And you're putting them on this great big pedestal just because they're able to talk into a camera confidently and they have a freaking camera, okay? So don't feel bad comparing yourself to these people because they're freaking fake. Who are you even comparing yourself to, okay? It doesn't make sense. It actually gets worse than this, okay? If the chicks that you're looking at are on Instagram, okay, like you shouldn't be looking at chicks on Instagram. You should be actually talking to girls in real life and sorting out your dating life. But anyway, that's another topic. It actually gets worse, okay? Like if these girls you're looking at with a big ass, they live in all these lavish lifestyles, you're like, how the hell do they actually afford to live this lifestyle? They might actually be part of the Dubai Porta Potty crew. Oh. If you don't know what the Dubai Porta Potty crew is, I urge you to go and look it up after you see this video. I can't actually go into too much detail because I want to run ads to this video. But yeah, the first time I was exposed to that, I was completely freaking blown away. And yeah, it really changed my mindset on it. So do check it out. Anyway, moving on. Jordan Peterson has this saying, something along the lines of like, compare yourself to who you were yesterday and not who somebody is today, okay? If you adopt this principle, it goes a long way with your self-esteem and your confidence, and it makes you feel like you're actually progressing and you recognize that things actually take time for you to make progress, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is it's also what you do with the comparison that makes all the difference, okay? So when you look at somebody on Instagram, okay, that's from the outside looks like they're doing better than you, do you feel a sense of like apathy that you could never actually achieve that? Do you idolize the person? Do you live vicariously through them? Do you kind of feel like you'll never actually get to that level and you're sort of like in victim mentality? Or do you actually look at it from an inspirational lens that maybe one day, if you actually put a lot of work in, that you could actually get a version of that, even if it's actually later in life, okay? Which way do you look at this? Because if you look at it through the latter, that you could actually achieve that even if it's a bit later in life. Like, okay, cool, I didn't get super freaking rich and famous at 22. I didn't get it at 32. But if I got it at 42 or even 52, that's better than 62 or 72 even, and by then I've already created all these habits. There's still time for you to actually course correct and to get better, okay? So it's not too late for you. It's normal to compare, okay? One of the things I want to get across is it's normal we're humans. It's normal for us to actually compare to other people. But you need to understand when you're looking at somebody on social media, you're not comparing, you're comparing all of you to only a portion of them. And social media is just rigged that way. Okay, even I think there's an app called Be Real that's like, oh, you got to post like real stuff that's going on in your life. Even that over a period of time gets boring because it's not flashy, and the way that our brain's set up, we want to see new and like exciting things all the time. It doesn't actually work like that. So you can't have that app actually be successful in the long run. So to get over this, I would encourage you to actually reduce your comparison to people on the internet, okay, that you look up to. Consider how you can limit your time on Instagram, or actually go through your Instagram and check out your influencers and actually get rid of some people, okay? I also would urge you to do what I did, which is go through, you get rid of all the chicks that you're following, you get rid of all the dumb triggering videos, and you just follow people that are doing better than you, that you look up to, okay? And that helps you change that lens that I was talking about before, so that now it helps you put yourself into that mindset. You're like, you know what? One day I'm going to get to that level, and even if it's a little bit later, even if it's 10 or 15 years down the road, I'm okay with that because now I'm actually hustling and I'm moving forward with that. The next problems are usually to do with your job. So let's say you feel very like locked in and committed to something that's not actually like in alignment with your core identity. You're not really in it, okay? This is going to make you feel very trapped and soul destroyed because you're not actually like doing something that is meaningful to you, and you're really only just there to collect a paycheck. So how do we get out of this rut? Well, I'm going to argue against what a lot of other people say, is that you haven't actually experienced enough pain for you to actually get out of the situation that you're in. I know it's a very bitter pill for you to swallow, but people that hate their current circumstances, they're like, this, like, if you haven't got to that stage yet, then you probably haven't experienced enough pain for you to actually evolve out of it, okay? What are you willing to do to move on from this gig? And how are you going to build that courage that you need to get out of it? Because right now you're just sort of going through the motions and you're tolerating this madness. So it's time for you to step up. It's time to become a bit more courageous. You know, how are you going to become a lot more solutions orientated so that you can get to where you want to go? You know, a saying that I got from Derek Moneyberg that I really admire is, if you want abnormal amounts of success, you're going to have to engage in abnormal behaviors. And when I first heard that, I was like, gotta do this thing, you know. You're going to have to make your own judgments on how you're going to transition out of this thing, but I would encourage you to actually like make a decent plan, okay? One of my biggest mistakes of my life is leaving the military without a plan, okay? So before you do anything rational, don't just like throw all the papers in the air and leave your job and be like, fuck this, I'm going to be able to work it out. It doesn't work like that. The longer you stay detached from the marketplace, the workforce, the harder it is for you to get a job. So don't actually like do anything rational until you've built a solid plan, okay? I'm hoping that this experience is going to give you a real push where you go, enough is enough. I'm going to get enough courage to do this. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I don't want to spend my life moving forward the next 5 years doing something that isn't a good fit for me, okay? So with that being said, I reckon you should start now. Like straight after this video, go through and start writing some of this down so that you can actually move forward. So let's say you have the courage to actually change career paths or jobs, but you find yourself hopping around to like one job to the next, and you never really like stay in one place for too long, okay? You're probably asking yourself the question, you're like, why can't I actually commit to one thing and stick with it, okay? Usually this occurs because you haven't actually spent the time to work out what your core values are and to find something that you actually like to stick in for the long run. Now, you probably have like a very, like me, have a very highly creative ADHD brain, and you're very easily bored and you don't really take orders well from others. So you actually, what you're doing unconsciously is you're creating these windows of opportunities because of the novelty and the feeling of things are being new. You haven't really found a lane of opportunity where you can be utilized for your unique talents and where your skill set is actually useful in the actual workforce. To help you get out of this situation, I would encourage you to answer some of these questions, okay? What is the type of community that you want to be around? Like, who are the people that you actually want to talk to? And what is the mission that you want to be on? What's something that is creative enough to keep you stimulated and excited for the long run, okay? Another thing is like, who are the people that you want to serve? Okay, that's a really big question to answer. Who are the people that are suffering unnecessarily that you think that you could help, or you would be able to learn the skills necessary to help? That's a really big one. You should really work out how to answer that. And I want you to confront the uncertainty. Okay, confront the uncertainty that you don't really know yourself well enough, because if you knew yourself well enough, you would have already found that thing, that purpose, that mission that you want to align yourself with. Hey, if you're getting something out of this video, then hit that like button and subscribe. It helps out the channel a great deal, and together we can actually help more men. So let's just say you finished your studies, okay? You're fresh out of university and you finally got that job that you've been working so hard for, but you've only just realized that you've changed along the way and the job isn't actually what you originally envisioned, okay? You kind of feel like you've climbed the wrong tree and you've dug yourself a hole because you've spent all this time and money investment in the studies and it's not actually a good fit, okay? So I want to give you a bit of a kick in the ass. I hope that you'll do this exercise. I want you to look at your supervisors, okay? I want you to look at your boss. I want you to look at the people that are in the role for a bit longer than you. And I want you to have this complete awakening, all right? You need to realize that that's where you're heading, okay? Whether you like it or not, that is where you're heading, because you're a product of the people that you surround yourself with. Now, if those people that are around you, I should say, have the lifestyle that you want, have the health that you want, have the money that you want, have the attitudes towards life that you want, and you get a sense of being fired up, then good, okay? Maybe you're just like having a bit of like shock between now you went from studying to the anxiety of needing to know what to do in your role. But if they're not what you want to be, they don't have those things, they don't have the lifestyle, health, and whatever that you want, then you're on the wrong path, bro. You're on the wrong path. You're heading in a direction that is not in alignment with where you want to go. So what do we do about this? Well, the first thing I would say is you need to come to terms with and appreciate how far you've already come, okay? Appreciate that you can actually lock in, because so many people don't have an attention span, and you've just proved to yourself that you can actually study something that is incredibly difficult and even get a job that far, okay? So not all is lost, which is kind of the second point, which is realize that you're not trapped, okay? You can actually pivot. You know, you'll actually do this your entire life. Not everything that you actually you learnt is not going to be useful in the next place, okay? So there are transferable skills. There are things that you can actually move into a new avenue. And I don't want you to feel like that everything that you did in the last 4 or 5 or 9 years or whatever is a complete waste, because it isn't. And then the third thing is you've got to try and work out how you're going to build courage, okay? And how to detach from that feeling of like, oh, I've spent all this freaking time doing something and now I've got to go do this other thing and I don't know how it's going to work out. You're going to have to try and work out what your core values are, okay? Answer some of the questions that I'm talking about and work out what mission that you want to be on so that this doesn't all happen again when you have, if you have to study something else to get to where you want to go. So another situation a quarter life crisis can be triggered is you might have just been fired, okay? Bro, I feel for you. It's a tough time to be let go like that, and you might be struggling to work out what direction to take now, okay? It's a really hard time because might not be emotionally ready to actually go to job interviews, and you're just not there yet, okay? You're still sort of getting over the rejection, and it's really hard for you to like build yourself up after being let go like that. It's not fun, okay? Trust me, I've been there many times while I was building this channel, and yeah, it's not fun. But I want to give you a reality check, okay? It's not going to be fun, but this is going to be a lot less fun than, further down the road if you've been out of work for an extended period of time. The time off is not a vacation, dude. It's not a time for you to freaking, go into escapism. You have an obligation to yourself and to others to actually work on your purpose and move forward in that direction. You need to work out how you're going to align yourself to other people's problems and help them achieve their goals. And in doing so, what it actually does is it gets you out of your mind, okay? Because now you're not just thinking about yourself and you're putting the needs of others before yourself, and you're utilizing that time more effectively. The idle mind is a devil's playground. So if you're just like moping around in your room and you're just playing computer games, that's not going to be a good place for you in the long run, okay? You got bills to pay, you got missions to do, and you're going to want to be able to get back into the workforce as fast as possible, because if you spend too much time out of the workforce, it actually makes it harder for you to actually get a job again, because you lose your verbal fluency and shit. So some of the concepts, additional concepts that help me around this time is maybe there's actually a better opportunity waiting for you that you just don't see yet, okay? Have a bit of faith that this could actually be the best thing for you. You just can't see it just yet, okay? The next thing is you do need to take a little bit of time, but not a lot of time, to actually process some of the things that went down, okay? That boss fucking said bad things about you. You wanted to punch the guy in the face, blah, 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 whatever it may be. You do need to take a little bit of time off to grieve and to sort of get over that feeling and go maybe do some yelling exercises, but don't get stuck there, okay? That's the key. And then the third thing is recognize that you don't have a choice, okay? Kind of what I was talking about earlier, you don't have a choice. If you've got bills to pay, if you've got things that you need to, you've got these commitments, or you've got mouths to feed, you don't have a choice. You've got to build yourself back up as fast as and most effective as you can, so that you can get out there and get a freaking job that is suitable for you in the long run. Look, you need to realize that going through a quarter life crisis is normal, okay? This might be the best thing that ever happened to you, but it might take you actually a few years in retrospect to actually realize that this was a good time for you, okay? As scary as it is right now, it's a great thing that you're going through this. You might look at this in a few years' time and go, whoa, dude, I dodged a freaking bullet. I'm so happy that I went through this quarter life crisis. You need to view this as if, are you going through a quarter life crisis, or is this a quarter life opportunity? This is an opportunity for you to grow. This is an opportunity for you to have a serious intervention and have some like a real retrospection on what actually you care about. What is your value structure, okay? So with that being said, if you're still anxious about like finding work and getting back to work, I did a whole video on that, so click that one here. And maybe if you're liking this content, check out part 2. This is part 1 of the solutions video. I'll put the link for it here. And if you want to know a little bit more about me, then by all means reach out to me on Instagram. Check out my Instagram profile. I'll leave a link in the description below. And yeah, with that being said, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next videos. Cool.